Okay, so in this section, this is where we're going to get a little bit calculator heavy, but it'll be very useful for you for tomorrow, I promise. So what we're doing is we are now writing the equation from a point in a table. So these have points, and then these have tables. So I'm going to show you the easiest way to get the equation from points and tables. So the first option, which some of you guys might want to do, so the first option is what we did in class for the last 2 weeks. So what we did for 2 weeks, we said get this slope. Okay, slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You're really good at getting the slope. You have done it over and over again for a long time. So once you had the slope, you labeled the m, the x, and the y. You plugged in your pieces, and you solved for b. So that's the way that we did it by hand. But since we're looking at these testing strategies, we're going to practice option B. So in option B, it says plug each equation into B, which is graph. So let's do that. So go ahead and grab your calculator and press on. So it says go to B, which is graph. So I'm going to click graph. It says plug each equation into the graph. So my first equation is here, negative. This is a fraction. So to type in a fraction, it's going to make it easier for you to see, there we go. To type in a fraction, we press Control, and then we press divide. Look at that, it gives me a nice easy fraction. So 14 over 3, right click. Then I'm going to put the letter x, which I'm getting from the bottom of my calculator. It says x, so I plugged in x. And then it says plus 17. Okay, so going back to the paper, it said option B, plug them in the calculator in B. Then it says press Control T, okay? Control is the button right here. T is the letter T from the bottom. There you go, take a second to graph. Okay, so now I press Control and I press T. So what happens is there is a nice little table that shows up for me here. So what this table is telling me is that when x is 1, its y value is 12.3. When the x is 2, its y value is 7.6. So what I need to do is check that table to see if it has both of these ordered pairs. So I'm going to start with 4. When x is 4, is the y value a 22? Because I need 4, comma 22. Nope. When x is 4, y is definitely not 22. So my answer here is not A. So I'm going to cross out A. So now I'm going to clear this. So we'll go back to graph and go ahead and try typing in B. So now we have a new equation, plug each equation. So I go back to graph, and then I'm going to clear this. I'm going to type in my next equation. So go ahead and try that. So you're typing in negative 14 over 3, x plus 122 over 3. Okay, so in that one here, so we had to clear it, and now I'm typing in negative. Again, it's a new fraction, so Control divide. 14 over 3, right click, x, plus another fraction. So again, I need to press Control divide. 122 over 3, enter. When I press enter, it graphs. There's my line, it's over there. That's great. I see a line, but I don't see the points. So we have to press Control T. All right, here we go. So we're looking for these points. When x is 4, ugh, go away. Okay, so on my table, when x is 4, here it is, the y value is 22. Oh, yay, so far so good. Now, I'm gonna scroll down to 10. When x is 10, its y value is -6, woohoo. It has both of those points on its table, so my correct answer is B. So if that confused you, we went to on, graph, we typed in our function. I'm gonna clear this so you can see. So to clear it, I can press menu. Ooh. Delete all. Yes. So that clears it. And then I'm gonna put in a new function. So now you're ready to go to y equals. So that's how you do number 9. So number 9, you type it in as a function, you press Control-T, and then you can see if both ordered pairs are on that graph. Very easy, very, very easy. You did not have to do any math at all. All you had to do is type it in and look to see if those ordered pairs are on there. So moving on to number 11. So number 11, we're doing the exact same thing. 2x minus 4.5. I'm taking my first answer choice and I'm plugging it in to my equation here. Then I press enter. So this graphed my function. I'm gonna press Control-T. When I press Control-T, my table shows up. So now on this table, notice my x values are not decimals. I don't see -2.5 on my table, so I'm not even gonna look at that one. I don't see a -1.5 for x on my table, so I don't look at that one either. But I do see x is 1. Let's see, here it is. When x is 1, its y value is not 3.5. Nope, not 3.5. So in this one here, the answer choice is not A. Correct answer is not A because this line does not have this ordered pair, 1 with 3.5. It's not on its table, so it didn't work. So let's go back. I'm gonna go to menu, actions, oops, not gonna do that. Okay, so clear that and try B. Okay, so I can go to menu, options, delete all. Yes, I'm sure. Control-T brings it back to normal. Okay, so I'm gonna graph a function. So -3, x plus 6.5. Enter. There's the line for option B. Press Control-T. All right, let's check this table. Again, the x values that have decimals, they don't show up on our table, so just ignore them. So start with 1. When x is 1, is its y value 3.5? Yep, absolutely. That one is on the table. When x is 2, is the y value 0.5? Yes, absolutely. So the correct answer choice is B. So I plugged it in, I pressed Control-T, and then I'm able to check my table. Very easy. So number 12 would be exactly the same way. All right, number 13. In number 13, these are not in the form y equals. That says x equals, and that also says x equals. So in number 13, I'm not going to use the y equal. I'm not going to use the graph function in my calculator because not all of these, that has an x in it. It has x equals and not y equals. So instead, we need to think through this one, which is not that difficult. It says, what is the equation of the line that has a slope of 0 and passes through the point 1, 6. So what I need to do is I'm going to draw this. So go ahead and sketch a nice, ugly little coordinate plane for me. So what I need to do is it says it's going to pass 1, 6. Where is 1, 6? Well, it's right 1 and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that is the ordered pair, 1, 6. It says the slope is 0. A 0 slope looks like the top of a z. 0. Okay, a 0 slope looks like the top of a z. So here's my line. That's the line that they're talking about in this equation. So to label this line, it's cutting through the y-axis. So it's going to be y equals. And it's cutting through the y-axis at the number 6. So my correct answer is B. Y equals 6. So I'll show you 14 as well for this one. I'll at least get you started. So number 14, there's some x equals. These are special lines in this equation. So for number 14, I'm still going to graph it. Really pretty. So I'm going to graph this point. It says it has to pass through the point -4, 2. So if I went left 4 and up 2, that's right there. Left 4 and up 2. So now the slope is 0. A 0 slope looks like the top of a z. 0 slope, top of a z. So go ahead and write the equation. What is the equation of that line? Very easy. Okay, so we're going to continue this just a little bit more. Go ahead and flip. All right, number 15. In number 15, it says a table represents points on the graph of a linear function. Write an equation in point-slope form. So in this question here, there are about 4,000 ways that you can do this and get the correct answer right. But to be consistent with what we said on the last page, we are going to use the calculator like you just did. And so once we have this one here, we can just type it in and press Control-T and match the table. So we're doing the same method for anything that has a table. So what we have to know though is that the calculator will only work, we can only use the calculator if we have y equals. If we don't have y equals, we can't type that in and look at the table. So in letter A, y is almost by itself. If we just get this 1 out of here by adding 1 and just put a +1 in the back, now y is by itself. So this is the equation, y equals -3/2, x minus 10, and then it's +1. We just moved that number to the back, so now y is by itself. You don't even have to distribute. You could distribute, but you don't have to, because once it says y equals, then we can grab our calculator and look at its table. So go ahead and grab your calculator. Okay. So in our calculator we have, I'm going to graph a function. Okay, so my first function here, it says negative. There's a fraction. Did we say to use fractions? If we have a fraction, we use Control, divide. It says 3/2, open parentheses, x minus 10, right click to get out of the parentheses, +1. So I took this equation, I just had to get that number, move it to the back, so now I have y equals. I typed it in as my function, and I press enter. So here's the graph way over here, that's great. I need to look at the table, Control-T. I'm gonna look at this table, I'm gonna see if it matches this table. So let's check the first ordered pair. So we're gonna scroll up. When x is -4, is my y value a -5? Nope, sure is not, it's 22. So A, unfortunately, is not the correct answer. Okay, so we have to go back to our worksheet. So in number 2, remember we can only use the calculator if y is by itself. To get y by itself, I'm going to subtract 1, I'm going to the back and I'm going to subtract that one. So the second equation B is y equals 3 over 2 x plus 10 minus 1. Y is by itself, so we can go to the calculator and see what we get. So go ahead and plug this into y equals. All right, so we can go to menu, function. Now we're good to go. If you struggle on clearing the other table and putting your new function in, just ask your teacher and your teacher can make that more easy for you. So what we have here, it starts with a fraction. So to use a fraction, it's control divide. 3 over 2. Nope, that's not right, sorry. 3 over 2, right click. X plus 10 minus 1. Enter. There's the line, that's great. Now I need to look at the table, control T. Hopefully this will have it, let's check it. When x is -4, ugh, rude. When x is -4, its y value is 8. The answer is not B. -4, -5 does not live on my table. Next, let's try C. Get C ready for the calculator. For it to be ready for the calculator, y needs to be by itself. To get y by itself, this -3 is in the way, so we need to plus 3. Go to the back, plus 3. That leaves me with the equation y equals -2 over 3, x plus 16 plus 3. Now that y is by itself, we're going to take this and plug it in the calculator. Okay, so I'm going to clear it. Menu, I need to graph my function. So in this one here we go, negative, control divide, 2 over 3, open parentheses, x plus 16, close parentheses, plus 3. I know this one is tedious. We're almost done with this one here. Follow along with the calculator. This is probably one of the hardest questions on the whole test. Okay, control T. Let's check it. When x is -4, woohoo, that one works. When x is -4, its y value is -5. When x is -7, its y value is -3. We're on the right track. When x is -10, its y value is -1. When x is -13, its y value is 1. All of those would work. Correct answer is C. Okay, so what we had to do is anytime you have a y equals in a table, you have to plug it into your calculator and press Control T. That allows you to look at the table that goes with each of these graphs. So let's move on to the next piece. So the next part says writing the equation